Hello and welcome to another episode of Modern Infrastructure Wednesday. I'm your host, Lee Zen. Today we're going to be talking about setting up CORS with API Gateway. This is a pretty frequent topic I see on the internet, in our community Slack, just people wanting to understand, I have API Gateway, I want to set up an API, and I want to be able to use cross-origin resource sharing so that any site can call into this API via client-side script. And so that's what we're going to cover today. So we're going to create a static website with API Gateway. We're going to add a REST API to that, and then we're going to make sure it works with CORS. So that's really the goal today. Should be pretty fast and easy. We can accomplish this with just a few lines of Pulumi code. Before I get going, please make sure you subscribe to Pulumi TV. Just click the subscribe link down below. And also turn on notifications for new videos. We drop a new episode of Modern Infrastructure Wednesday every Wednesday. So here we go. I have my editors brought up here. I already have some stuff typed in. This is just a very simple API. I'm pointing at my build path for my React app, and I'm pointing at /. One thing to note real quick, when building React apps, when you're using API Gateway, if you're going to use the API Gateway directly like I am here, where I'm just going to try to go to the URL directly, it's useful to include this in your React package.json, where you just build the homepage relative to the root path. This way it doesn't expect to actually go directly at the root, but really everything is relative to index.html. So that way we can go to a site like this and have it work. You can see in my React app I actually try to fetch this /API, which obviously doesn't work right now. So let's get that to work first. And so that's actually really simple. All we just have to add a separate route over here. So let's add another route. And we can just add a path. It'll be, we set it /API. We'll add a method. It's going to be get, and then we can add a handler, and we can just write this event handler, and we can write an async handler like this, and we can actually just for now we can just return fairly simple thing. We can just say status code is 200. And the body can just be, hello. And that should work. So we can actually run Pulumi up and add this additional method here. Let's see what happens when we do that. So we'll add, I'm just going to say yes, we can see we're going to add this additional function, which is what this event handler is representing, or this function represents this event handler, and kind of everything else kind of is wired up nicely. So let's let that run for a sec. All right, so now we've got that deployed. And if I go back to this page here, if I refresh, oh, maybe not quite yet. Let's see. Okay, so let's try one more time. Oh, yes, of course. I'm trying to fetch /API, when in reality I should be trying to fetch /stage /API. So let me update my program code. Let's just actually just stick the whole URL in here actually, because we're gonna want that later for when we try this locally to make sure that CORS works. So let's try that. Oops, let me actually run my build, since that's actually going to be part of the package there. So okay, we run the build to update our React app. Now we can run Pulumi up. So you can see we're going to update some of these bucket object resources here. So okay, we've done that. Now we refresh. And okay, now we make this API call. You can see it succeeds. And if we look at our console, we get hello. So that's what we expected. Great. So now let's actually run this program locally and see what happens. Because now let's see if the cross-origin resource sharing actually works. And here you can see, no CORS, doesn't work. Okay, so now how do we make this work? Well, we have to do a couple things. First, we have to return an options parameter. We have to use options to actually return back the right set of headers, and then we have to also return those same headers in our actual application code. So let's do that. Actually, if we Google for like API Gateway CORS, you can see there's this like handy dandy result here, how to CORS, and it tells us what we need to return. We need to return these particular headers so we can actually let's copy this. So if we stick this into here, this is what we need to return. So we'll say we can allow from anywhere. We only really have options in get, and then we allow. So this is what we want here. And one difference is going to be that we want to do the same thing for options, right? It's because we need to have this pre-flight method figured out as well. So let's add another path for that. So this time it's for the options method, and here we're just going to copy and paste this. But here, instead of having any kind of body, we just return an empty body. So let's run Pulumi up here. So you can see we're allowing from any origin to call this API. And then we have these allowed methods, options, and get, which are the two options we have defined here. So we can call either of those from anywhere. And then we obviously allow this particular header. So assuming this is successful after this runs, this should just work. So we'll do two things. We're going to double check that the API as it is hosted still works, which we should expect it to. And then we can verify that we can actually call this thing locally. So let's see what happens. So if we go to this is, you can see this is running on API Gateway. If we refresh this, yep, our API still returns as expected, and we still get back hello, so that's great. Now, before this was returning this, let's see if this works. And voila. So really just in a few simple lines of code, all we did is actually just added these headers back in our returns, and then also added this additional options path in order to return these headers correctly on options. And just like that, in really just, this is like an additional 10 lines of code from what I originally had, we enabled CORS on our API. And next time we'll cover this in a little more depth, where we try to do the same thing, but instead of doing it via Lambda, we'll do it via the mock integration in API Gateway. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Modern Infrastructure Wednesday. As I mentioned earlier, please make sure you like and subscribe the episode. Subscribe to Pulumi TV. You can also follow me on Twitter, LMZen, and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much.